A retired soldier dad fights off thugs to save a farm girl during a storm. Sparks fly. Like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell to catch our latest stories. You won't want to miss what's coming. The Smoky Mountains roared with the fury of a late spring storm on May 17, 2014, as Tom Harris clung to the steering wheel of his old sedan, his dark eyes wide with adrenaline. The wind howling as lightning split the sky, thunder shaking the car, his heart pounding as a massive pine tree crashed onto the hood with a deafening crunch, the metal crumpling, the windshield shattering, the vehicle skidding to a stop just inches from a 500-foot drop off the mountain's edge. The rain pounding relentlessly, the storm trapping him on this desolate stretch of road, his 40-year-old frame jolted but alive. A few scrapes on his arm, the only damage. His military instincts kicking in as he took a deep breath, his voice a low growl. "Stay calm, Tom. You've been through worse. You'll get through this." He pushed the door open, the rain soaking him instantly, his boots slipping on the muddy ground as he stepped into the chaos, the wind biting at his skin, his worn leather jacket offering little protection, his phone useless with no signal, the nearest town miles away. His situation dire as he shielded his eyes, the lightning illuminating the empty road, his hope fading until headlights pierced the storm, a battered pickup truck roaring toward him, its engine a lifeline in the darkness. And a young woman leaned out, her blonde hair tied back, her blue eyes sharp with urgency, her voice cutting through the wind. "Get in! You'll die out here! Hurry!" Tom didn't hesitate, his special forces training telling him to take the chance. And he sprinted to the truck, climbing into the passenger seat, the warmth of the hob a stark contrast to the freezing rain, his voice gruff but grateful. "Thanks, I'm okay. Just some scratches. Car's done though. I'd appreciate the help." The woman nodded, her hands steady on the wheel as she introduced herself, her voice calm despite the storm. "I'm Yelena Brooks. I've got a farm a few miles down. You can stay there till this passes. It's not safe out here." Tom studied her, her youthful face, mid-20s, etched with a quiet strength, her calloused hands gripping the wheel, her flannel shirt and jeans practical, but unable to hide her striking beauty. And he felt a flicker of relief, mixed with something deeper, a spark he hadn't felt since his wife, Camille, died in a car accident 2 years ago, a loss that had driven him to leave the U.S. Army Special Forces, trading covert missions for a quieter life, raising his 6-year-old daughter, Ellie, in Knoxville, a life he'd do anything to protect. But now, stranded in the storm, he couldn't ignore the connection forming, the way Yelena's presence steadied him, her kindness a light in the chaos. She drove with confidence, the truck handling the slick roads with ease, the windshield wipers a steady rhythm as they descended the mountain, the storm raging outside, and Tom's thoughts drifted to Ellie, waiting with her babysitter, her bright smile the only thing that kept him going, his voice breaking the silence. "I'm Tom Harris. I'm just trying to get back to Knoxville. My daughter's waiting. I don't want to impose, but I'd be grateful for the shelter." Yelena smiled, her eyes crinkling. "No imposition. I couldn't leave you out there. Storms like this are deadly. Let's get you safe." The truck rumbled into a valley, her farm coming into view, a sprawling piece of land with a weathered barn and farmhouse, the fields stretching into the darkness, a sanctuary from the storm, and Yelena parked near the house, the porch light flickering in the wind, leading Tom inside, the warmth of the farmhouse enveloping him, the scent of wood smoke and fresh bread filling the air, the living room cozy with a crackling fireplace, a quilt draped over a worn couch, and she handed him a towel, her voice gentle. "Dry off, get warm, I'll make some tea. You've been through hell out there." Tom took the towel, his hands trembling from the cold, his voice sincere. "Thanks, Yelena, you didn't have to do this. I owe you one." She waved him off, her smile soft. "I'd want someone to do the same for me. Now sit, rest. We'll figure out your car in the morning. The storm's not letting up tonight." Tom sank onto the couch, the fire's warmth seeping into his bones, the adrenaline fading, leaving him with a quiet awe at Yelena's kindness, her strength. And as she returned with 2 steaming mugs of tea, her blue eyes meeting his, he felt that spark again, a flicker of something new, a connection forged in the storm, a feeling that warmed him more than the fire, a hint of a future he hadn't thought possible, one that might just change everything for him and Ellie. A future he couldn't ignore. When the morning sun struggled to pierce the storm clouds over Yelena Brooks's farm in the Smoky Mountains on May 18, 2014, the rain a steady drizzle as Tom Harris jolted awake on the couch. The warmth of the farmhouse, a stark contrast to the chaos of the previous night, his dark eyes blinking against the dim light filtering through the window, his body stout from the ordeal on the mountain, his car crushed by a fallen tree, his rescue by Yelena. The spark of connection he'd felt, and his thoughts were interrupted by the roar of motorcycle engines, a menacing growl that shattered the morning calm. His special forces instinct is kicking in as he sprang to his feet, his voice low. "Yelena, trouble's coming. Get down." Yelena, who'd been tending to the fireplace, turned sharply, her blue eyes wide with alarm, her blonde hair falling loose from its tie, her voice tense. "What? Oh no, not again. They're back." She dropped the poker, rushing to the window, her face paling as she spotted them, a group of over 10 motorbike thugs, their leather jackets emblazoned with a skull insignia, their bike circling the farmhouse like vultures, their shouts carrying through the rain. One of them, a hulking man with a shaved head, bellowing, "Yelena Brooks, time's up. Sell the farm or we burn it down. The company's done waiting." Tom's jaw tightened, his military training taking over as he moved to Yelena's side, his voice steady. "Who are they? What do they want? And why are they threatening you?" Yelena's hands shook, her voice a mix of fear and defiance. "They're hired muscle, work for a real estate company, Summit Holdings. They've been after my land for 2 years, ever since Dad died. They want to build a resort. They've been harassing me, sabotaging my crops, scaring off my workers. I've been holding out. But they're getting worse. I can't fight them alone." Tom's eyes darkened, the protective instinct he'd honed as a father, as a soldier, surging to the surface. And he placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice firm. "You're not alone. Not today. I'll handle this. Stay inside. Keep the door locked." Yelena hesitated, her blue eyes searching his, her voice a whisper. "Tom, you don't have to. They're dangerous. I can't ask you to." But he cut her off, his tone unyielding. "You're not asking. I'm offering. Nobody threatens a woman on my watch. I've got this." He stepped outside, the rain soaking him as he faced the gang, his 6'2" frame imposing despite his lack of weapons, his leather jacket torn from the storm, his dark eyes cold as he assessed the group. 12 men, armed with bats, chains, one with a pistol, their bikes revving, their leader stepping forward, his bat tapping the ground, his voice a sneer. "Who the hell are you? Her new bodyguard. This ain't your fight. Walk away, or we'll bury you." Tom stood his ground, his voice calm but laced with steel. "I'm Tom Harris, and I'm telling you to leave, now. Yelena's not selling. You don't get to threaten her. Not while I'm here." The leader laughed, his gang joining in, their jeers a chorus of menace. "Big talk. Let's see how you talk with a broken jaw." He swung the bat, aiming for Tom's head, but Tom's training kicked in, his body moving on instinct, his hand catching the bat mid-swing, his strength wrenching it from the man's grip, his other fist slamming into the leader's face. The crack of bone echoing as the man stumbled back, blood streaming from his nose. The gang's laughter turning to shouts of rage as they charged, their chains swinging, the man with the pistol raising it. But Tom was faster. His years in special forces making him a blur, his elbows smashing into the gunman's wrist, the pistol clattering to the ground, his knee driving into the man's gut, dropping him in the mud. The bat in Tom's hand a weapon now, swinging with lethal precision, cracking against knees, ribs, Heads. The gang falling one by one, their shouts turning to groans, their bikes abandoned as they retreated, dragging their wounded, their leader spitting blood as he yelled, "This ain't over! You'll regret this!" Tom stood over them, his chest heaving, the bat dripping with rain and blood, his voice a growl. "Come back, and you'll regret it more. Stay away from her, or I'll bury you myself." The gang fled, their bikes roaring into the distance, and Tom turned back to the farmhouse. Yelena standing in the doorway, her blue eyes wide with awe, her voice trembling. "Tom, you took them down, all of them. Where did you learn to fight like that?" He dropped the bat, wiping the rain from his face, his voice steady. "I'm ex-Special Forces, served 10 years, left after my wife died, to raise my daughter. Ellie, I've seen worse than those punks. I wasn't about to let them hurt you. Not after you saved me last night." Yelena stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm, her voice soft. "You didn't have to do that. I've been fighting them alone for so long. I didn't think anyone would." "Thank you, Tom. I don't know what I'd have done without you." Tom met her gaze, the spark from the night before igniting into something deeper, the adrenaline of the fight mixing with the warmth of her touch. And he nodded, his voice low. "I'm not going anywhere, not till I know you are safe. They'll be back, and I'll be ready, if you'll let me stay." Yelena's smile was small but genuine, her blue eyes shining with gratitude. I'd like that a lot." They stepped back inside, the rain a steady patter on the roof, the warmth of the farmhouse wrapping around them, the tension of the morning giving way to a quiet understanding, a bond forged in the storm, a bond that felt like the beginning of something new, something Tom hadn't thought possible, but something he couldn't walk away from. Not now, not ever. The drizzle continued to fall over Yelena Brooks' farm in the Smoky Mountains on May 18, 2014, the air heavy with the scent of wet earth and pine as Tom Harris stood in the farmhouse kitchen, his dark eyes fixed on the window. The morning's confrontation with the motorbike gang still fresh, their threats echoing in his mind. "This ain't over, you'll regret this." His Special Forces training keeping him on edge, his 40-year-old frame tense despite the warmth of the house. The adrenaline of the fight lingering as he sipped the tea Yelena had made. Her presence a quiet comfort beside him, her blue eyes watching him with a mix of gratitude and curiosity, her blonde hair falling loose around her shoulders, her voice breaking the silence. "Tom, you said you're ex-Special Forces. How did you end up here, fighting my battles? You don't even know me. Why risk so much for a stranger?" Tom set the mug down, his hands steady but his mind racing. The memories of his past flooding back, 10 years in the U.S. Army and Special Forces, missions in Afghanistan, Iraq, places he'd never speak of. The scars on his knuckles a testament to the violence he'd left behind and the reason he'd walked away. His wife Camille's death 2 years ago in a car accident. The grief that had driven him to focus on raising their 6-year-old daughter, Ellie, in Knoxville, a quieter life he'd fought for. And he turned to Yelena, his voice low. "I know enough. You saved me last night, pulled me out of that storm. You didn't have to, but you did. And I saw the fear in your eyes when those thugs showed up. I've seen that look before, on people who needed protecting. I couldn't walk away. Not then, not now. I've lost too much to let someone else lose everything. I'm staying till you're safe, if you'll have me." Yelena's eyes softened, her hand reaching out to touch his arm, her voice trembling with emotion. "I've been fighting alone since Dad died. 2 years of Summit Holdings trying to take this farm. I've lost workers, friends, everything. I didn't think anyone would stand with me. Thank you, Tom. I'd be honored to have you stay." Tom felt a warmth spread through him, the spark he'd felt the night before growing into a flame. Her touch, her words, stirring something he hadn't felt since Camille, a connection, a purpose, and he nodded, his voice steady. "Then I'm here. I'll protect you. This farm, whatever it takes. Those punks will be back, but I'll be ready." They spent the morning fortifying the farm, Tom using his military training to assess vulnerabilities, barricading the barn doors with spare lumber, setting up tripwires with bells along the perimeter, teaching Yelena how to use a shotgun from her father's old collection, her hands steady as she followed his instructions, her determination matching his own. And as they worked, their conversation flowed, Tom sharing stories of Ellie, her love for painting, her laughter. Yelena opening up about her father, his dream of keeping the farm alive, the legacy she refused to let die, and with every shared word, every glance, the bond between them deepened. The storm outside a distant memory, the warmth of their connection a light in the darkness. By midday, the rain had stopped, the clouds parting to reveal a pale sun, and Tom stepped outside to check the tripwires, his eyes scanning the fields, his instincts sharp, and Yelena joined him, her voice soft. "I've never met anyone like you. Tom, you're different. You make me feel safe, like I can breathe again. I haven't felt that in a long time." Tom turned to her, her blue eyes meeting his, and he felt the pull, the undeniable attraction, the way her presence steadied him, and he took a step closer, his voice low. "You make me feel something too. Yelena, something I thought I'd lost. I didn't expect this. Not after last night. Not after everything. But I can't ignore it. I don't want to." Yelena's breath hitched, her hand brushing his, her voice a whisper. "I don't want you to. I feel it too, Tom." The moment hung between them, charged with possibility, but it was shattered by the faint rumble of engines in the distance, the same menacing growl from the morning, and Tom's instincts snapped into focus, his voice sharp. "They're back. Get inside, now. Grab the shotgun. I'll handle this." Yelena nodded, her face set with determination as she ran back to the farmhouse, and Tom moved to the edge of the property, his eyes narrowing as the gang returned. Their numbers doubled, 20 men now, their bikes kicking up mud, their leader, his nose bandaged from Tom's earlier punch, shouting, "You thought you could scare us off? Hero, this farm's ours, and we'll take it, one way or another." Tom stood his ground, his voice a growl. "You're making a mistake. Walk away, or you'll crawl away. Your choice." The leader sneered, raising a pistol. "Wrong choice, tough guy," and fired, the bullet grazing Tom's arm, the pain sharp but familiar, and Tom charged, his training taking over, his body a blur as he tackled the leader, wrenching the pistol from his hand, his fist a storm of precision, the gang closing in, their chains swinging. But Tom fought like a man possessed, his thoughts on Yelena, on Ellie, on the life he wanted to build, each punch a promise, each block a vow, and as the gang fell, their numbers dwindling, Yelena emerged from the farmhouse, the shotgun in her hands, her voice fierce, "Get off my land!" She fired a warning shot, the blast echoing, and the remaining thugs scattered, their bikes roaring into the distance, defeated for now. But Tom knew this wasn't the end. The real fight was coming, and as Yelena ran to him, her hands checking his grazed arm, her voice trembling, "You're hurt. You didn't have to do that, but I'm so glad you did." He pulled her close, his voice steady. "I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together. Yelena, I'll protect you. I promise." She nodded, her arms wrapping around him, their embrace a silent vow, a bond forged in the storm, a love beginning to bloom amidst the danger, a love that would face whatever came next, together. The Smoky Mountains stood silent under a gray sky on May 19, 2014, the air still damp from the previous day's rain as Tom Harris patrolled the perimeter of Yelena Brooks's farm, his dark eyes scanning the tree line for any sign of the motorbike gang, his special forces instincts on high alert after their second attack, the graze on his arm a dull ache beneath a makeshift bandage, his 40-year-old frame moving with the precision of a soldier, his leather jacket torn but his resolve unshaken. The memory of Yelena's embrace after the fight fueling him, the spark between them now a steady flame, a connection he hadn't felt since Camille's death 2 years ago. A connection he'd fight for, just as he'd fight for Yelena's farm, for her safety, for the future he was beginning to imagine with her. A future he'd protect with everything he had, no matter the cost. Yelena worked nearby, her blonde hair tied back, her blue eyes focused as she repaired a broken fence, her flannel shirt rolled up to her elbows, her movement steady despite the fear lingering from the gang's threats, her voice carrying over the quiet morning. "Tom, you don't think they'll stop? Do you, Summit Holdings? They've been at this for 2 years. They won't let up till they get what they want. I'm scared they'll do worse next time." Tom paused, his hand tightening on the tripwire he was resetting, his voice calm but firm. "They won't stop, not yet, but I've dealt with worse than a bunch of hired thugs. I've faced enemies in places you don't come back from. I'll handle them, Yelena. I promised you that, and I keep my promises." She looked at him, her eyes softening, a small smile breaking through her worry. "I believe you. I don't know how I got so lucky. You showing up like this? I've been fighting alone so long. It feels good having you here." Tom felt the warmth of her words, the bond between them growing with every moment, and he nodded, his voice low. "I feel the same. I didn't expect this, but I'm glad I'm here. For you. For this." The moment was shattered by the faint rumble of engines in the distance, a sound that sent a chill down Tom's spine, his instincts snapping into focus as he dropped the wire, his voice sharp. "They're back. Get to the house. Grab the shotgun. Now." Yelena didn't hesitate, sprinting to the farmhouse as Tom moved to a vantage point behind the barn, his eyes narrowing as the gang roared into view. Their numbers smaller this time, 8 men, but their intent clear, their bikes kicking up mud, their leader, his nose still bandaged, shouting, "Burn it down! Let's see how she likes losing everything." Tom's blood boiled, his training taking over as he spotted a Molotov cocktail in the leader's hand, the flame flickering, and he acted on instinct, rushing forward as the man threw it, the bottle arcing toward the barn, and Tom dove, catching it midair, the heat searing his hands as he hurled it back, the cocktail exploding against a bike, the flames engulfing the rider, his screams echoing as the gang panicked, their formation breaking, and Tom used the chaos, his fists and boots a blur. His special forces skills lethal as he took down 2 more, their chains and bats no match for his precision. The remaining 5 scattering, their bikes roaring as they fled, but not before one shouted, "You're dead! Hero Summit's coming for you!" Tom stood amidst the wreckage, his chest heaving, his hands burned, but his resolve unshaken, and Yelena ran to him, the shotgun still in her hands, her voice trembling. "Tom, your hands! You're hurt! You stopped them, but they'll come back. They always do. What are we gonna do?" Tom winced, flexing his burned hands, his voice steady. "We end this. I'm done playing defense. I've got contacts, old friends from the service. I'll call in some favors, find out who's really behind Summit Holdings. We'll take the fight to them. They won't touch you. Not while I'm here." Yelena nodded, her eyes shining with trust, and she led him inside, tending to his burns with a first aid kit, her hands gentle as she wrapped gauze around his palms, her voice soft. "You keep saving me. I don't know how to thank you, but I'm glad you're here. More than glad. I'm starting to feel things for you, things I didn't think I'd feel again." Tom met her gaze, the pain in his hands forgotten as he saw the depth in her blue eyes, the same longing he felt, and he reached for her hand, his voice low. "I feel it too. Yelena, I didn't come here looking for this, but I found you, and I'm not walking away. Not from you, not from this fight. We're in this together." She leaned in, her forehead resting against his, her breath warm. Together, I like the sound of that. The rest of the day was spent preparing. Tom using a burner phone to call an old Special Forces buddy, Marcus, a private investigator now. His voice clipped as he explained the situation. "Summit Holdings, they're harassing a friend, hired thugs. I need intel. Who's pulling the strings? Can you dig for me? Marcus agreed, promising answers within 48 hours, and Tom turned his attention to fortifying the farm, setting more traps, teaching Yelena basic hand-to-hand moves. Their laughter mingling with the tension as she stumbled through a punch, her spirit lifting with every lesson. And by evening, as they sat by the fire, the farm quiet, the danger looming, Tom felt a certainty he hadn't known in years. This fight wasn't just about survival, it was about protecting something new, something worth fighting for, a future with Yelena, a future he'd build, no matter what Summit Holdings threw at them, a future he'd defend with every skill he'd honed as a soldier, as a father, as a man who'd found love in the storm. The Smoky Mountains cast long shadows over Yelena Brooks' farm as the sun dipped below the horizon on May 20th, 2014, the air cooling with the onset of evening. A stark contrast to the tension simmering inside the farmhouse where Tom Harris sat at the kitchen table, his dark eyes fixed on the burner phone in his hand, his special forces training keeping his nerves steady despite the burns on his palms. The gauze wrapped tightly around them, a reminder of the Molotov cocktail he'd intercepted the day before. His 40-year-old frame coiled with purpose as he waited for a call from Marcus, his old army buddy turned private investigator, the man who'd promised intel on Summit Holdings, the real estate company behind the motorbike gang harassing Yelena, a company that had been terrorizing her for 2 years, ever since her father's death, trying to force her to sell her farm for a resort development. And Tom knew the fight was far from over, his resolve to protect Yelena and her land unshaken, the bond between them growing stronger with every shared moment, a love blossoming amidst the danger, a love he hadn't thought possible since Camille's death, a love he'd fight for with every skill he'd honed in the Yugoslavians, Army Special Forces. Yelena stood at the stove, stirring a pot of stew, her blonde hair tied back, her blue eyes darting to Tom every few seconds, her voice soft but laced with worry. You think your friend will find something? Summit's been untouchable. They've got money, connections. They've scared off everyone I've ever asked for help. I don't know how to fight that. Tom set the phone down, his voice steady. Marcus is the best. He's dug up dirt on warlords. He'll find something on Summit. We'll hit them where it hurts, legally or otherwise. They won't touch you. Yelena, I'll make sure of it. She nodded, a small smile breaking through her worry, and stepped closer, her hand resting on his shoulder. I trust you, Tom. You've already done so much. I don't want you getting hurt. Not for me, not for this farm. Tom covered her hand with his, the warmth of her touch igniting that now familiar spark, his voice low. I've been hurt before, worse than this. I can handle it, but I can't handle losing someone else. Not after Camille, my wife. She died 2 years ago. Car accident. Left me and Ellie. I swore I'd protect my family. And you're part of that now, if you'll let me. Yelena's eyes shimmered, her voice a whisper. I'd like that a lot. And she leaned in, her lips brushing his in a tentative kiss, a moment of quiet connection amidst the storm, a promise of a future they both wanted, a future they would have to fight for. The burner phone buzzed, shattering the moment, and Tom answered, Marcus's voice crackling through. Tom, I've got something. Summit Holdings is a front, owned by a guy named Victor Lang, ex-con, runs a network of shell companies. He's got ties to local politicians. That's why he's untouchable. But I found a weak spot. He's meeting with his crew tomorrow night, a warehouse in Asheville, 10 p.m. They're planning to escalate, hit the farm hard, burn it to the ground. You need to move fast. Tom's jaw tightened, his mind racing with the intel, his voice clipped. Thanks, Marcus, I owe you. I'll handle it. Keep digging. I need everything you've got on Lang. He hung up, turning to Yelena, his voice steady. We've got a lead, Victor Lang. He's the head of Summit. He's planning a big move tomorrow night. I'm going to Asheville. I'll stop him before he gets here. This ends now. Yelena's eyes widened, her voice trembling. Tom, that's dangerous. He's got money, power. He'll have men. You can't go alone. Let me come. I can help. I know how to shoot. You taught me. Tom shook his head, his hand cupping her cheek. I need you here, safe. If something happens to me, you need to keep fighting. For the farm, for Ellie. I'll call in another favor. I won't be alone. I promise. He stepped outside, using the burner to call another old teammate. Jackson, a former sniper now working private security. Jack, I need backup. Asheville, tomorrow night, warehouse on 5th Street, 10 p.m. We're taking down a real estate crook. He's got muscle. You in? Jackson's voice was gruff. For you, Tom, I'm in. See you there. The next day passed in a blur of preparation. Tom checking his traps around the farm, Yelena stocking supplies in case of another attack. Their shared glances filled with unspoken promises. And that evening, Tom drove to Asheville, Jackson meeting him outside the warehouse, a nondescript building in an industrial district, the night air thick with tension as they scouted the area, spotting Lang's men, 15, heavily armed, their voices carrying plans to torch Yelena's farm. Lang himself, a wiry man in his 50s, his suit pristine, his voice cold as he barked orders. No survivors. I want that land by morning. Tom and Jackson moved in, their training seamless, Tom's fists and Jackson's silenced pistol a lethal combination, the guards falling silently, their bodies hidden in the shadows, until they reached Lang, Tom's voice a growl as he stepped into the light. Victor Lang, your fight with Yelena Brooks ends tonight. Call off your men. Walk away, or you don't walk at all. Lang sneered, drawing a pistol. You're a dead man. But Tom was faster, his burned hands ignoring the pain as he disarmed Lang, his fists slamming into the man's jaw, Jackson covering the remaining guards, their surrender swift as Tom pinned Lang to the ground, his voice a snarl. You're done. Call it off, or I end you right here. Lang, blood dripping from his lip, nodded, his voice trembling. It's off. I'll leave her alone. I swear. Tom tied him up, leaving him for the authorities Marcus had tipped off, and as they drove back to the farm, the weight of the fight lifting. Tom knew this wasn't the end. Lang's connections might still pose a threat, but for now, Yelena was safe. Her farm was hers. And as he pulled into the driveway at dawn, Yelena running to him, her arms wrapping around him, her voice a whisper. You came back. You did it. You saved us. He held her close, his voice steady. I told you I keep my promises. Their embrace a vow, a love forged in the storm, a love that would face whatever came next, together. The Smoky Mountains were bathed in the soft glow of dawn on May 21st, 2014, the air crisp and clean after days of rain as Tom Harris stood on the porch of Yelena Brooks's farmhouse, his dark eyes scanning the fields, his special forces instincts still sharp despite the victory in Asheville the night before. The confrontation with Victor Lang, Summit Holdings' ruthless leader, ending with Lang's surrender. His promise to leave Yelena alone, a hard-won battle. But Tom knew men like Lang didn't give up easily. His connections to local politicians and his network of shell companies making him a persistent threat. And Tom's 40-year-old frame, though battered from the fight, the burns on his hands still tender beneath fresh bandages, stood ready for whatever came next. His resolve to protect Yelena and her farm unshaken. The bond between them now a deep, unspoken love, a connection forged in the storm. A connection he'd fight for with every ounce of his training, every piece of his heart. A heart that hadn't felt this alive since Camille's death 2 years ago. Yelena stepped out onto the porch, a mug of coffee in her hands, her blonde hair catching the morning light, her blue eyes soft with gratitude as she handed him the mug, her voice warm. You were out there all night, Tom, watching, keeping us safe. You need to rest. You've done so much already. Lang's gone. We're okay now. Thanks to you. Tom took the mug, his burned hands careful, his voice steady. I'll rest when I'm sure it's over. Lang's not the type to back off for good. He's got too much to lose. I've seen his kind before in the service. They wait, they regroup. I'm not taking any chances. Not with you, not with this place. Yelena's hand rested on his arm, her touch grounding him, her voice soft. I know, I trust you, but you can't fight forever. You've given me hope again. Tom, I haven't felt this in years. I don't want to lose it, lose you. Tom met her gaze, the intensity in her blue eyes mirroring his own, and he set the mug down, his hand covering hers, his voice low. You won't lose me. I'm here. Yelena, I'm not going anywhere. I've lost too much to walk away from this, from you. I love you. I didn't think I'd feel this again, but I do. Yelena's breath hitched, her eyes shimmering, and she stepped closer, her arms wrapping around him, her voice a whisper. I love you too. Tom, I've been so scared, so alone, but you changed that. You made me feel safe, loved. I want this, us, more than anything. Their lips met in a kiss that sealed their confession, a kiss filled with promise, with hope, a kiss that drowned out the lingering threat of Summit Holdings, a moment of peace in the chaos, a moment that gave Tom the strength to keep fighting, to ensure their future, a future he now saw clearly, a future with Yelena, with Ellie, a family he'd build, no matter the odds. The day passed with a quiet rhythm, Tom and Yelena working side by side to repair the farm, fixing fences, checking the crops, their shared laughter a balm to the tension of the past days. But Tom's instincts remained sharp, his eyes scanning the horizon, and by afternoon his caution proved right as Marcus called, his voice urgent. Tom, Lang's moving, he's not done. He's hired a new crew. Mercenaries this time. They're coming tonight, 20 men, armed to the teeth. Lang's desperate. He's leading them himself. He wants the farm, and he wants you dead. I've tipped off the feds, but they won't get there in time. You're on your own till morning. Tom's jaw tightened, his mind racing with a plan, his voice clipped. Thanks, Marcus, I've got this. Get the feds here as fast as you can. He hung up, turning to Yelena, his voice steady. Lang's coming, tonight, 20 men. We need to prepare. We'll hold them off till the feds arrive. I need you to trust me, can you do that? Yelena nodded, her face pale but her resolve firm. I trust you, tell me what to do. They spent the evening fortifying the farm. Tom setting up more traps, sharpened stakes hidden in the grass, fuel cans rigged to explode near the barn, tripwires with noisemakers to alert them, and arming themselves. Yelena with the shotgun, Tom with a hunting rifle from her father's collection, his special forces training guiding every move. His voice calm as he positioned her near the farmhouse window. Stay here, cover the front, shoot if they get too close. I'll take the barn, draw them in. We'll hit them hard, make them regret coming back. Night fell, the moon hidden by clouds. The farm shrouded in darkness as the rumble of engines approached. The mercenaries arriving in a convoy of trucks, their headlights cutting through the night, Lang at the lead, his wiry frame visible as he barked orders. Burn it all. Kill them both. No witnesses. Tom waited, his rifle steady, his trap springing as the first truck hit a fuel can. The explosion lighting up the night, screams echoing as flames engulfed the vehicle, the mercenaries scattering, their formation broken, and Tom fired. His shots precise, each one dropping a man, his voice a growl as he shouted, "You picked the wrong fight. Lang!" Yelena fired from the window, her shotgun blast keeping the attackers at bay, her voice fierce. "Get off my land!" The fight was brutal, Tom moving like a shadow, his training making him a one-man army, the mercenaries falling one by one, their numbers dwindling, until only Lang remained, his pistol raised, his voice a snarl. "You're a dead man! Harris!" But Tom was faster, his rifle's last bullet striking Lang's shoulder, the man collapsing. His screams cut short as Tom knocked him out, tying him up for the feds. The farm falling silent as the first light of dawn broke, the sound of sirens in the distance signaling the cavalry's arrival. And Yelena ran to Tom, her arms wrapping around him, her voice trembling. "We did it. You did it. It's over. We're safe." Tom held her, his body aching but his heart full, his voice steady. "It's over. We're safe and I'm never leaving you. Not ever." Their embrace a vow, a love that had survived the storm, a love that would build a future they'd fight for, together, always. The morning sun rose over Yelena Brooks' farm in the Smoky Mountains on May 22, 2014, casting a golden glow across the fields. The air fresh with the scent of dew and pine, a stark contrast to the chaos of the previous night's battle. The charred remains of a mercenary truck, a grim reminder of the fight Tom Harris had led to protect the farm, his special forces training ensuring their survival against Victor Lang's final assault. The feds arriving at dawn to take Lang and his surviving men into custody, the threat of Summit Holdings finally neutralized, and Tom stood on the porch, his dark eyes softer now, the burns on his hands healing, his 40-year-old frame still bruised, but his heart lighter than it had been in years. The love he'd found with Yelena, a beacon through the storm, a love that had given him a purpose beyond survival, a love he knew was worth fighting for, a love he'd build a future on, for himself. For Yelena, for his 6-year-old daughter, Ellie, who he now planned to bring into this new chapter of his life. Yelena joined him on the porch, her blonde hair glowing in the sunlight, her blue eyes bright with hope, a tray of fresh biscuits in her hands, her voice warm. "I thought we'd celebrate. Lang's gone. The farm's safe. We're safe. Because of you, Tom. I don't know how I'll ever thank you." Tom took a biscuit, his smile genuine, his voice steady. "You don't need to thank me. We did this together, and I'd do it all again. For you, for this place. I've been thinking. I want to stay, not just till you're safe, but for good. I want Ellie to meet you, to see this farm, to be part of this life, if you'll have us." Yelena's eyes shimmered with tears, her hand reaching for his, her voice trembling with emotion. "I'd love that. I've dreamed of a family, of someone to share this with. I want you here, you and Ellie, more than anything." Tom squeezed her hand, his heart full, and he made the call to Ellie's babysitter, arranging for his daughter to be brought to the farm, his voice gentle as he spoke to Ellie. "Hey, baby girl, I've got a surprise for you. I'm bringing you to a farm. You'll meet someone special. Pack your paints. We're gonna have an adventure." The babysitter arrived by midday, Ellie bounding out of the car, her curly hair bouncing, her brown eyes wide with excitement, her small arms wrapping around Tom as she squealed. "Daddy, I missed you. A farm. Really? Can I see the animals? Can I paint them?" Tom laughed, lifting her into his arms, his voice warm. "You'll see everything, sweetheart. This is Yelena. She's gonna be part of our family now." Ellie turned to Yelena, her smile bright. "Hi, Yelena. You're pretty. I like your farm. Can I paint the cows?" Yelena knelt, her blue eyes shining, her voice soft. "I'd love that. Ellie, we've got cows, chickens, even a pony. You can paint them all. We'll have so much fun." Ellie clapped, her excitement infectious, and Tom watched them, his heart swelling with a joy he hadn't felt since Camille was alive. The farm becoming a home, a place for Ellie to grow, for Yelena to thrive, for him to heal. And as the days turned to weeks, they settled into a rhythm, Ellie running through the fields, her laughter echoing, Yelena teaching her how to feed the chickens, Tom fixing fences and tending the crops. Their evenings filled with shared meals, stories, and quiet moments by the fire. The farm a sanctuary, a new beginning, a family forged in the aftermath of the storm. By late summer, Tom knew it was time. His love for Yelena, a certainty, a foundation he wanted to build on forever. And one evening, as the sun set over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, he led Yelena to the edge of the field, Ellie playing nearby with a calf, her giggles a soft backdrop, and Tom knelt, a simple ring in his hand, a band he'd bought in town, modest but heartfelt, his voice steady. Yelena, you brought me back to life. You gave me a home, a family. I love you more than I can say. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Here, with Ellie. Will you marry me? Yelena's breath hitched, her blue eyes filling with tears, her smile radiant as she nodded. Yes, yes, Tom. I love you too. I want this. Us. Forever. Twice she slipped the ring on, her arms wrapping around him, their kiss sealing the promise. Ellie running over to join them, her voice bright. Are you my new mommy now? I can call you Mommy Yelena. Yelena laughed, pulling her into the hug. I'd love that, sweetheart. We're a family now. The months that followed were a blur of happiness, the farm thriving under their care. The threat of Summit Holdings a distant memory as the feds dismantled Lang's network. Yelena's land secure, her legacy intact, and Tom found peace in the rhythm of farm life, in Ellie's laughter, in Yelena's love. A peace he'd thought lost forever after Camille, a peace that made every fight, every scar, worth it. A peace that promised a future filled with love, with family, with home. The Smoky Mountains bloomed with the vibrant colors of spring on a warm April day in 2015. The air filled with the scent of wildflowers and fresh earth as Yelena Brooks' farm buzzed with life. The fields lush and green, the barn freshly painted, the farmhouse adorned with garlands of daisies and lavender. A small crowd of friends and neighbors gathered in the meadow for a wedding that marked the culmination of a journey that began with a storm. Tom Harris standing at a makeshift altar crafted from oak, his dark eyes shining with a joy he hadn't thought possible. His 40-year-old frame dressed in a simple suit, his hands healed from the burns of the past year. The scars a testament to the battles he'd fought to protect this farm, to protect Yelena, to build a family with her and his 7-year-old daughter. Ellie, who stood beside him as his best girl, her curly hair adorned with a flower crown. Her brown eyes sparkling as she clutched a basket of petals, her voice a whisper. Daddy, Mommy Yelena looks so pretty. This is the best day ever. Tom smiled, his heart full, his voice soft. It is, baby girl. It really is. And he turned to watch Yelena walk toward him, her blonde hair cascading in loose waves, her blue eyes radiant with love, her white dress simple but elegant, a vision of the future he'd dreamed of since that stormy night in May 2014, a future forged through danger, through love, through the shared strength that had seen them through the threats of Summit Holdings, the gang of thugs, the relentless pursuit of Victor Lang, all of it leading to this moment, a moment of peace, of promise, of forever. The officiant, a local pastor and friend of Yelena's father, began the ceremony, his voice warm. We gather today to celebrate the union of Tom Harris and Yelena Brooks, two souls brought together by fate, strengthened by trials, bound by love. And as he spoke, Tom's thoughts drifted to the past year, the storm that stranded him on the mountain, Yelena's rescue, the battles against the motorbike gang, the night he took down Lang in Asheville, the feds dismantling Summit Holdings' corrupt network, ensuring the farm's safety, and the quiet months that followed, Ellie joining them, the farm becoming a home, a sanctuary where Ellie painted the cows, where Yelena taught her to bake, where Tom found peace in the rhythm of farm life, in the love they'd built, a love that had healed the wounds of losing Camille, a love that had given him a second chance at family, at happiness. Yelena reached the altar, her hand slipping into his, her smile brighter than the sun, and they exchanged vows. Tom's voice steady. Yelena, you brought me back to life. You gave me a home, a family. I promise to love you, to protect you, to stand by you always. and Yelena's voice trembled with emotion. Tom, you gave me hope. You showed me what love can be. I promise to love you, to cherish you, to build our life together forever. The pastor pronounced them husband and wife, and they kissed, a kiss filled with the promise of a lifetime. The crowd cheering, Ellie tossing petals into the air, her laughter echoing as she ran to hug them. I have a mommy now, Mommy Yelena. I love you. Yelena knelt, pulling her into the embrace, her voice soft. I love you too. Ellie, we're a family. Always. The reception was a joyful affair. Tables set up in the meadow, strings of lights twinkling as dusk fell, neighbors sharing stories of Yelena's father, of the farm's history, music playing from an old radio, Tom and Yelena dancing under the stars, Ellie twirling beside them, the farm alive with laughter, with love, a testament to the life they'd built, a life that had overcome every obstacle, a life that promised years of happiness, of growth, of togetherness. As the years passed, the farm flourished, Yelena expanding the fields, adding a small orchard, her father's legacy thriving under her care, Tom taking over the mechanical work, fixing tractors, building a workshop where Ellie learned to tinker, her paintings of the farm winning local contests, her laughter a constant in their lives, and Tom found a peace he'd never known. The scars of his past, Camille's death, his years in special forces, the battles with Summit Holdings fading into the background, replaced by the joy of mornings with Yelena, of evenings with Ellie, of a life filled with love, with purpose, with family. By 2018, the farm had become a community hub, hosting markets, teaching local kids about farming. Ellie, now 10, her confidence growing as she led tours, her paintings decorating the farmhouse. Yelena and Tom welcoming their first child together, a boy named Caleb, his birth a new chapter, a new joy. The farm a legacy for their children, a legacy of love, of resilience, of a storm that had brought them together, a storm that had led to a lifetime of happiness, a lifetime Tom cherished every day, a lifetime that honored Camille, that honored the fight, that honored the love that had made it all possible, a love that would endure, always. From a stormy rescue to a joyful wedding, Tom, Yelena, and Ellie built a happy family on the farm. Thanks for listening. Please like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on for our latest stories. Your support means the world to us.